Oh man, that coffee is good this morning, Patriots. It is good to see all of you. We are back, baby, with another episode of the BaldBrad Show. Jesus Christ, I look like I just got hit by a dump truck. We're doing good though, folks. Don't let the face fool you. I can't do anything about it. You know, you get what you get when you roll out of bed this morning. Hopefully, all of you had a lovely weekend. The news has been jam-packed. Trump's still putting in the work. We got, whether you want to hear about it or not, we got updates on the Epstein files. Just, I don't know what to believe anymore. So we have updates with Dan Bongino. We have updates with Kash Patel. We have updates with the Epstein files with Pam Bondi. And then we have updates with what Donald Trump said. Now, yes, I said dump truck. Absolutely. Yes, I did, sir. Thank you in the chat. Appreciate you. But I do want to plug my own stuff. Who are we sponsored by today? Well, we are sponsored by thebaldbradshow.com. I sponsored myself. Yes. If you haven't noticed already, we have a book. If you go over to baldbrad.com, you click up here, it will take you directly to Amazon, and you could purchase Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. And then we also have a store that if you click up at the top will take you to all our fun merch, where if you want to sport being an American patriot and letting the world know, well, that's right there for you. We got men's stuff. We got hoodies. We got women's merch. And by the way, the women's merch looks good on women. Okay, it fits your body, folks, but all that is there for you. And if you haven't picked up a mug, if you've been a follower of my show for longer than 6 months, I think you're hanging around for a while, right? You got to get a mug to drink out of with all of us, folks. I know it says $19.99 on there. You're like, Jesus! I've had the same mug. Why is my mic peaking? That's crazy. Hold on a second. That's weird. Well, Brad, you're yelling into the mic. No wonder it's peaking. If you've been with me for 6 months, this is the same mug I've had since the inception of the show. And I've dropped it from waist height on the floor. You got to pick yourself up a mug, folks. You got to. All righty. Well, let's get right into the news. Enough of me talking and plugging my own stuff, huh? We got a morning brief here, and I always love these when they post these for us because it kind of encapsulates what kind of took place over the weekend. Now, if you recall, in a traditional news cycle, the cycle ends about Thursday. And then, Friday, some ish happens. Saturday, Sunday, some ish happens. Well, now we're on Monday, and it kind of brings it all together. So tensions escalate within Trump world in the fallout of the Epstein case. That is a very generous title because things have been popping off here. President Donald Trump is standing by his attorney general, even as MAGA loyalists call for Pam Bondi to be ousted over her handling of the Epstein files. And this is what I think people get wrong. I don't think it's just the Epstein files that people are upset with. I mean, what has she done? Granted, let's be fair here. It's going to be about 6 months since Trump's been in office, probably about 4 and some change months since she's been in her job. So I'm trying to be a little bit fair here. And that's why I said, look, my date is in 2 years. January 20th, 2027 is my date. But I think a lot of people aren't just upset with her regarding the Epstein files. I think they're just upset with her because it's like, what are you doing? We see your pretty face around you're talking, but that's pretty much it. I don't care if you look good. I want to know what you're doing. You could be freaking like the guy from the Elephant Man movie for all I care. Ever since the White House declared the Epstein investigation closed, concluding there was no evidence the billionaire sex criminal died by murder. You guys, I'm going to be going to the chat a lot today. I got to know what you think about that. Even the autopsy said he was murdered. Well, it depends, I guess, which person you're looking at. But come on, I'm going to believe the guy that his brother went to do the autopsy. And the guy that did the autopsy that was basically hired by his brother, I believe, who did it, said, look, his neck was broken. You don't get that by just hanging yourself. Blackmailed powerful individuals or had a client list. Here's the thing. You have been coming out for years, since 2019, and said that there's all this stuff, right? That the guy didn't murder himself, that he blackmailed powerful individuals. He had a client list. This thing was global, man. We're hitting the elites. We're hitting Hollywood. I mean, everybody that you know that was names of names was involved in this thing. And then you come out and you're like, none of it's real. Like, none of it whatsoever. That is also a problem. That also raises a red flag. You're telling me there's not anything? Nothing? A little odd. We've seen unprecedented backlash from the president's most diehard supporters. They are confident there's more to this story and want to know why there hasn't been more transparency and why, more importantly, Bondi went from saying that Epstein list was on her desk awaiting release to saying that there was never a list to begin with. Maybe when that question was proposed, and I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here and be a little bit fair, is maybe when that question was proposed, she just knew that the Epstein files were on her list. Maybe or on her desk, the Epstein files. And maybe she did think that there was a list in there. It turned out not to be any list. I mean, there's so much that could have happened here. Look, folks, I'm not saying I believe it. I'm just saying I'm giving options of what could have taken place. Who's stopping somebody from the FBI from coming in knowing when Trump was elected? I mean, you had months to do this work. And that's something we talked about. It's interesting. If you go back to the old episodes we were doing when Donald Trump got voted in, and I was like, I specifically said, why is it taking so long to get Cash in there? We got to get him in there quick because I'm worried that they're going to get rid of some stuff. That was always my worry. They're going to start getting rid of the JFK stuff or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. You can just point your finger anywhere. That was always my worry. So if you go back and listen to those, and I know for those that were here with us, you remember me saying that, very much could have played into this. Now we appear to be seeing legitimate signs of fracture within the administration. On Friday, here we go. We learned that Dan Bongino got into a shouting match, and I did a video on that, with Bondi at the White House. Now, I looked more into that. I heard that he just raised his voice, and I've done this with people as well, where I will raise my voice, and they think that I'm yelling. Even though when you're not actually, like, this is raising my voice, me being stern, people take that as yelling. Where you're just raising your voice, you're making a point, and because Dan Bongino has a don't F with me looking face, people go, oh my God, he was yelling. It's like, you don't know what yelling looks like. You don't know when when people are sheltered in their life, when they've never seen a man, like a grown man, lose his shit on somebody. That's when you start getting scared, not when a guy just changes his tone on you. You know, the dad voice, right? You know, oh boy, we're not messing with Papa Bear today. We're not messing with Daddy. Bondi reportedly accused him of throwing her under the bus and planting negative stories about her in the press. A source close to Bongino told the Daily Wire, White House reporter Mary Margaret, who we've seen here in the correspondence room during the press briefings, that he is so incensed by the Epstein debacle that he's threatening to resign if Bondi is allowed to remain the chief legal officer of the federal government. Now, I heard reports that if this was true, that Bongino was going to be out today, like he was going to make his decision by Monday. So we will see. Now, I have news here because Kash Patel on Saturday did come out and respond to all of this. So Dan, that whole debacle happened Friday. Saturday, Kash Patel came out as well. And he was thinking about resigning. So check this out. According to officials at the DOJ, FBI Director Kash Patel is also considering resigning if more documents are not released, and he wants Bondi out as well. However, check this out. This is what came out Saturday, Sunday-ish. Patel broke his silence on Saturday, saying he'll continue serving Trump as long as he calls on me, and the Epstein conspiracy theories just aren't true. That one was a kick in the nuts for me, folks. Because now I've heard it from Kash, now I've heard it from Dan, and now I've heard it from Pam. I listen to Dan Bongino's podcast every day. Look, I trust Dan, man. I don't care if people start losing trust in him. I trust the guy. I've listened to him long enough where I'm like, okay, it'd be like Ben Shapiro telling me something. Like, I trust the guy. Now, that's not going to be a trust based on faith. That's trust based on faith, knowledge, and action. That's trust based on all three of those combined, not just faith alone. I've listened to the guy. I've seen his receipts. Does he get things wrong? Absolutely. Have I gotten things wrong? Yes. And I've told you the things I've gotten wrong here. I give you a prime example. When we were covering Trump getting shot in the ear, I actually showed you footage one day of somebody saying, oh, you could see the bullet going through slow motion. Well, it turns out that was actually the other ear. And I called it out. I said, look, we don't get things wrong that much here on the show. This reporting was wrong. I apologize. I can count on 2 fingers the amount of times I've messed up in almost 5 years. Dan's the same way, man. I trust the guy. When Kash has been pushing this stuff as well, all these years, he's been on Glenn Beck. He's been on freaking the Patrick Bet David podcast. I mean, you go on all these podcasts for years before the FBI director say, well, the FBI director, Christopher Wray's the one that has access and is holding on to and is safe the black book that has the client list. That's what he said. And now you're coming out and saying none of it's real. That's too much of a 180. It can't all not be real. That doesn't make sense to me. I understand there's many variables that go into this. One of the variables has to be legit. Not all of them. Now, is it possible? Sure, but the probability in my mind is very low, and that's how I work. What is the probability of something occurring amidst all the variables? And what those variables would be called are contributions. The contributions that affect the total outcome of whatever's taking place. You can't tell me none of those exist. That part I'm not going to believe. You could tell me the list doesn't exist, but what about all these other things? Maybe the guy didn't write down his stuff for all I know. Hell, I don't know. Even if you believe he did, I'm just making the benefit. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe there is no list, but to say there's nothing else, that I don't believe. No way. Now, according to officials at the DOJ, FBI Director Kash Patel is also considering resigning, which we covered. In a lengthy Truth Social post, Trump came out and defended Bondi. So this is what he said this weekend. Who he said is doing a fantastic job. We are one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. I don't know if Trump is getting too big-headed because his head's already big. You know what I mean? Again, I love Trump. But I think he's really underestimating how much we voted for him in to give us transparency on this. And I don't know, guys. I've really tried to think about it. And I don't want my own conspiracy theories and antennas to go up. But it's really hard not to. And let me show you why. It's really hard not for me to share with you these theories that I have because we've been right so freaking much. And I just got to show you the proof. We've been right so many times that it's like, do we just share it anyways and talk about it? I swear I post things on X and they disappear. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. It's, look, the Hunter Biden laptop. So all these check marks, we were told we were conspiracy theorists by journalists, the Democrat Party, the progressive left, the vax harm, pandemic, lockdown, ivermectin, HCQ efficiency, face masks, Epstein Island, elite pedophilia, like biolabs, child trafficking, like the border, you know, all these things we were told we were conspiracy theorists about, but then we end up being right. We end up being correct. So my theory is there is some deep state shadow government taking place, and I don't know what they have on these people. That's my theory, man, because that's the only thing that makes sense. The second Trump starts going like into the shadows, like, hey, there ain't nothing to see here, man. We're all one team. Woo, hoorah. I don't know. Like, oh, I don't like this. Like, Trump, look, but we love you. I could give a flying F what you like and don't like, sir. And I voted for you 3 times. I don't give a shit. This needs to happen because this is the step forward to healing of giving people some shred of trust in the government. I'm not saying full trust because I will never have full trust, not even close to it. But I'm talking like a pinch, not even a pinch of salt trust, something to go on. But when you go, well, there's nothing. I don't think so. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and losers and criminals of the Biden administration? This was a weird statement. I will say this is one of the weirdest things Trump has ever said. And I'm talking ever. When I read that in his Truth Social post, I actually said out loud as I was drinking a cup of coffee, I was like, what the fuck? Like that stuff doesn't, I'm sorry, man, that stuff doesn't work all the time. It works because sometimes it ends up actually being true. And I'm sure there's some truth to them messing with the files and why do I get that conclusion? Folks, they mess with the images that they did with Trump's classified document scandal. They actually fabricated some of that stuff. I mean, the stuff was real, but they also included other things into it as well to kind of change it. So he says, let's not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, but you said we were going to. That's the problem. And it ain't going away. People will always remember this, especially Trump's base, because there's people that voted for this, man. We voted for JFK. We voted for Epstein. We voted to have all this stuff come out. Do you guys remember how excited we were? And we were like, we're getting cash. We're getting dead. Holy shit, everybody. We're going to find out everything. I was like that. I should be irate right now. You know what I mean? I should be losing my ish. It's tough, man, because it's like, look, I got my border wall, or I'm getting get my border wall. You're right. I got the funding for it that I've been begging for a decade. I've been begging for I still remember the conversation in the Oval Office of Donald Trump's first administration, where he's sitting there with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. You got the penguin and the freaking wax figure running around. And he's like, I'll do it for $3 billion, Nancy. I'll build an entire border wall for $3 billion. It's beautiful, big, beautiful wall. I remember that whole conversation, and they were arguing back and forth. And I'm like, dude, just give us the wall, shut up. And they wouldn't do it. We have a great economy. We're getting the trade stuff done. We're getting men out of women's sports. So it's tough for me. Are we being greedy? That's my question. And I'm not saying, look, please, I'm just proposing the question, folks. I know what he made a promise we want. I'm just asking, is there an element of us being greedy here by losing our stuff because we don't get the Epstein files, but we got everything else? And I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet. This is just, you guys know how the show works. We just shoot off the cuff here and we play into what's here. We're reactionary commentary, folks. We're not, let's go into the nitty gritty and break down what it means to be an Epstein list, Who were these elites in the Great Reset? Could we do that? Yeah. Truthfully, I find that kind of boring. That's not how people talk in real life. You know what I mean? When you're sitting down having a cigar and a glass of whiskey, sure, you could break stuff down and get into it. But most casual conversation is like what we're doing here. I don't know. It feels kind of greedy. It feels kind of silly to go pop off, where it's like, man, we got all this other stuff, though, going on, and we're killing it. We actually are doing really well. ICE is getting rid of people. They're busting child labor, which the Democrats love. Let me know in the chat. Leave a comment if you're watching this on the replay. I really do read all the comments, folks. Well, speaking of raids, speaking of illegal immigration and ICE, more details are emerging about the ICE raid of a marijuana farm that we covered last week. That resulted in the arrest of hundreds. Wow. So it was hundreds of illegal aliens. So all those people lined up, not every single one of them, but a lot of them, it looks like were bad people. Officials say at least 14 children were on the farm, most of them unaccompanied and potential victims of forced labor, dude. That's crazy. Not surprising, but holy lordy. Now it's crazy because people are out there protesting, right? It's like, dude, there's forced labor happening, unaccompanied, potentially victims. Now, unaccompanied doesn't really mean much. It's like, hey, you know what? Like, you're on summer break. You're not in school. You want to go work some labor. Again, I'm always trying to give the benefit of the doubt. During the raid, anti-ICE protesters attacked agents with rocks and bricks. One person seemingly shot at officers. The government is now offering a $50,000 reward for that suspect. Videos of the raid show protesters attacking federal vehicles as agents drive away. One protester appeared to use his bike to try and block the road. Authorities deployed tear gas and smoke bombs to disperse the estimated 500 people there to protest or impede federal agents. At the end of the day, ICE arrested more than 300 illegal aliens. The chaotic clash caught special attention of President Trump, who authorized any ICE agent who was attacked to stop their car and arrest these slime balls. Isn't this exactly what we've been calling for this entire time? I mean, I remember even covering this, specifically the person with the bike and also the lady with the Mexican flag that was sticking the stick inside the vehicle's, I almost said spokes, but tires and stuff, like an idiot. Like she's going to stop a massive military truck with a freaking flagpole, you nut job. These people are idiots. And And I said, why are we not arresting these people? And I paused the video. Do you guys remember? I paused the video and I was circling. This person should be arrested. This person should be arrested. This person should be arrested. If you put your hands on an individual, you should be arrested. And I said, why are they not? I'm so tired of this. Why are they not? So good. And I want to start seeing this. You start impeding ICE agents from carrying their job, which any of us were to do, we would all be arrested. We would be arrested. You see it all the time on Cops. I grew up on that show. I've been watching it for 20 years. Over 20 years I've been watching the show Cops. Bam, ba-dam, bam, ba-dam, what you gonna do? Shabby dum rum come for you. Come on. We all know Cops. Sorry, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm going to arrest you if you keep impeding our investigation. Ma'am, I'm going to arrest you if you keep getting in between us. We're going to arrest you. But yet these people get away with it. Democrats have blamed violent anti-ICE demonstrations on the Trump administration and its immigration enforcement tactics and policies. In the aftermath of the raid, California Democrat Governor Gavin Newsome singled out Stephen Miller. Stephen's like one of the few guys that hasn't let us down. Stephen for president. Trump's deputy chief of staff and immigration hardliner. The governor called the raid inhumane and said Miller's methods evoke chaos, fear, and terror within our communities every turn. Well, let's see what we have from Stephen Miller, because I believe that he addressed this and kind of popped off. But remember, Gavin Newsome is defending these children traffickers. So where are we at here? Hold on. Now just readjusted. Come on, damn it, Elon, you screwed me up. All right, well, here we go. Now I got to scroll down. I'm sorry. Now you got to see what I deal with on the back end, trying to find you guys the video. You got Gavin Newsome defending child labor. So here we go. Here's a little bit of is there a longer one? Yeah, I want this one. Here we go. This is what I was looking for.
The president has been clear and consistent in saying that he's going to fight labor trafficking and child trafficking. And this marijuana plantation is a clear-cut example of labor trafficking and child trafficking, which are heinous crimes. Additionally, I don't know of anybody except the governor of California who would argue that a marijuana plantation is an essential component of America's food supply chain. And everywhere you look in California, you see industrial child exploitation on a massive scale, an industrial scale. There are likely hundreds of thousands of children in California who are being exploited for their labor or sexually exploited as part of sex trafficking. This administration is liberating these children and helping reunify them with their parents back in their home country. What the Biden administration did with respect to child trafficking is one of the great crimes in human history. Over 500,000 children were illegally trafficked into the country under the previous administration. When we've gone and looked for these children, Martha, the addresses that the U.S. government provided, in other words, the records that the government kept under Joe Biden, are all fake. Nobody ever checked if the addresses were real. Nobody ever checked if the sponsors were real. Nobody ever checked if they were really even relatives or parents or relations or safe. We recently recovered a young illegal alien, for example, who had been raped repeatedly by the adult male that the Biden administration handed to her. She was under constant video surveillance and was coached exactly what to say if an officer ever knocked on her door so that she would never be rescued. We have example after example. We go to homes, 13, 14, 15-year-old children who are raped on a daily basis because the Biden administration, because the Democrat Party chose to traffic them into this country. So we will be unrelenting in our effort to free these kids.
Yeah, this is a huge story, and the Biden administration tried to push them out of these holding facilities at the border and into the arms of people who were picking them up. There were some cases where one person picked up 150 children. So I doubt very much that was their uncle.
Were not all their children.
Was their uncle? The fact that this isn't bigger news is actually it's crazy. It truly boggles the mind. But I've always said this, and I will say it again. They love children. The Democrats love going after your children. And if you don't give the children what they want, they'll remove you and your children from your own household, and most likely just your children. Where am I getting that from? If you recall, Gavin Newsome was a supporter of that whole initiative, that if you don't gender affirm your child, child services will show up and remove your child from the household because it's going to be deemed child abuse. And that's what they want. So, and I said, it's going to come. I mean, Ben Shapiro talked about this years ago, that they're going to start knocking on your door, that if you don't gender affirm your kid, if you named your kid Dennis, and now Dennis goes as Jessica because it was indoctrinated in the school system for the last 15 years. Well, yeah, if you don't accept that and you don't come to terms, and Dennis wants to lop off his pee-pee and get breast implants and take hormone enhancers and puberty blockers, well, you're going to have Dennis removed from your home, and there's nothing you could do about it. And you might go to jail. So that's where things are going. That's always fun. Well, speaking of Gavin Newsome, California versus Trump. Again, this guy was on the East Coast. I think he was in like North Carolina recently, like this last week. And you might be wondering, well, Brad, isn't he your governor? What is he doing in North Carolina or on the East Coast? He's going to run in 2028. If he doesn't, my head would spin and I would be put 6 feet into the ground. He's already doing his presidential campaign. He's getting his feet wet. He wants people to get to know who he is. Why are we not talking about any other governor? Why is it always Gavin Newsome? It's not like I'm going out of my way to find information about this guy. He's everywhere. California is doubling down on its war with Trump administration over everything from ICE raids to women's sports, while several of its cities face growing crises. I mean, we saw video on Thursday last week of what it looked like in California. Remember that children's playground that had freaking washer machines out there, and it was just gross. There was probably needles everywhere, razors, syringes. Key areas of contention include environmental policy, where California has sued over rollbacks of emission standards and protections for endangered species. The state is also, I love how they go with endangered species, but yet they let homeless people just defecate into the streets. Like, they're so concerned about the environment. No, we're going to go to it. Now I'm pissed. They let people just trash up our streets. This is Hollywood. You're concerned about the environment? Really? This is Hollywood Boulevard, by the way. I'm pretty sure this is Hollywood Boulevard. Look at this. Remember I told you the Hollywood Walk of Fame? This is what you see. Look at this. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else here. This is, oh wow, this is what it used to look like when I was a kid. Holy crap. This is, folks, remember I told you, like, this is not what it used to look like. This is different. This is what it used to be. See how clean it is? It's like waxed and everything. It looks nice. And now it looks like this. Now, this is not the same street, by the way. I want to be fair there. That's not the same street. But that's what you see. You guys building a freaking treehouse. A treehouse. It's crazy, man. It's just crazy. What the hell is this? Oh, an entire perimeter of an event with homeless people on the street. So, yeah, I know he's doing a great job over here. Anyways, he's so concerned about the environment, but not the quarter of the homeless population in his one county, meaning LA County. Where's Karen Bass on that, by the way? People still haven't got their houses built that were burned down like a year ago. The state has also challenged federal immigration policies, including the construction of a border wall and the treatment of asylum seekers. A California political commentator highlighted the state's internal crisis. We have the public safety issues, and then we also have the affordability issues. On the public safety front, we still have exceedingly high crime and homelessness. And on the top of that, on the affordability front, we have energy prices, electricity, gasoline that are sky high. Highest in the nation. Correct. We are literally the highest in the union. Going through the roof and with no end in sight. Water rates that are very high, insurance rates that are sky high. You can't even get fire insurance in some areas anymore. The risk is too high because they won't clear out the forest. I'm not even saying you have to sweep the entire forest. They won't even sweep around residential. I mean, that part's like a no-brainer, right? Hey, why don't you clean up the area around where there's houses? They won't even do it. Also noted that every one of these crises is something that either is preventable, predictable, or manufactured. Correct. 100%. 100% can fix this. And you know what? The people, and because I've actually debated these people on this very issue. I've shared this before. I was in a debate with people that live in California, and they were all nurses. All 3 women were nurses. And I told them they are giving these homeless people not just areas to do drugs, but syringes and in some cases drugs. Oh, well, I've never heard of that before. They're not giving them drugs. And they go, where's it happening? I said, San Francisco. Oh, well, I haven't heard of that. Who's reporting that? I was like, San Francisco Chronicle. I can actually show you the article. I'm looking at it right now as I'm speaking to you on my phone. Oh, well, and then it's just, oh, well, I think that's fine. I was like, it's fine to help people and feed their addictions? Well, they're going to do it anyways. What? And they go, well, our hospital systems are impacted. I was like, that's exactly the reason what their excuse was for giving them the drugs, was because they didn't want to impact the emergency room. And I said, you have all these illegals impacting the emergency room because they get free health care that way. That, well, now we got to deal with this problem. Maybe if the illegals weren't impacting the emergency room, you could send these people there and that way it wouldn't be impacted or get them off the streets. But no, let's just keep giving them drugs. That's just genius. I actually I understand their argument of like, well, you know, it's the best of both evils. It's like, how about you just don't give them syringes? Like, well, they would just share syringes anyways. Well, it's their problem. It's not my fault. Why would I feed into that? If you want to, I don't want to make it easier for them. I want to make it harder for them. It's kind of like that case of, why do you lock your door? Why do you lock your front door? Well, I don't want somebody to come in. You think you turning that knob is going to stop a grown 6'5" guy, 300 pounds, that's like a linebacker for like the Raiders? You think that's going to stop them from getting into your house? The purpose is you make it harder for them. It's a deterrence. You don't feed them by unlocking your door saying, well, you're going to do it anyway, so you might as well make it easier for them to come on in. They won't even be able to track that analogy, by the way, so I have to actually break it down. Patriots, go ahead and take a water break really quick. Yeah, fill up your coffee mug, do what you need to do. I need to speak to the Democrats really quick in the progressive lefts because they're not able to track that linear logic. See, if you're giving them syringes because they're going to be doing the drugs anyways, you're making it easier for them. Now, the analogy was that you shouldn't lock your door to your front door then because you're just going to make it easier for the robbers to come in and, you know, do heinous crimes to you and your family and loot all your stuff because they're going to do it anyways. Yeah. See, that logic kind of goes everywhere pretty much. Yeah, you should just give said something to somebody because they're going to do it anyways. We should just not have a border wall because they're going to climb the border wall and come here illegally. So we might as well just have open borders because they're going to do it anyways. Yeah. Well, we shouldn't really stop people from doing this crime because they were going to do it anyways. Do you guys see how that's a really stupid argument? And they're grown women that are nurses that allegedly had to go through a lot of schooling to get that degree that are saying crazy things. And some of them watch the show. God bless you. But sorry, idiotic on that front. Just really dumb. See how you got to track that for them? Okay, break time's over, folks. Come on, you're on the clock. Get your ass in here. Okay, what else do we have here in the news? Now, I don't know if you guys remember this. This is kind of a callback here. The Biden DOJ tried to imprison a Trump supporter over memes. Well, now he's fighting back. So a Trump supporter who was targeted by the Biden Justice Department for posting satirical memes mocking Hillary Clinton supporters during the 2016 election, I told you this is a callback, right, was recently vindicated in court. Now he plans to fight back by suing the feds. Now, here's the sucky thing I think he should win, by the way. This is crazy. The problem is we all have to pay for it. It's like those people that sue your school district or they sue the state. And it's like, you're like, okay, and it's a right-wing guy or whatever. And it's like heinous stuff happened to him. You're like, hell yeah, I'm for that guy. The crappy thing is you're paying for it. You know what I mean? You have to pay for these politicians or these individuals that work for the state's idiocracy at the back end because there's going to be some sort of settlement. The settlement's going to be like $4 or $5+ million. And now we got to pay for it because people are dumb. Douglas Mackey, who was charged by the Biden DOJ for election interference some 4 years after posting the memes in the question, faced a stunning 10 years behind bars. Dude, I don't know if you guys remember this. Wild story. After the Justice Department secured a conviction in New York City, of course it's New York City, isn't it? That city's so fallen, it's head spinning. Mackey don't you love how we always do New Year's Eve with the ball drop in New York City? It's like, we're the land of the free, the home of the brave. We're going to celebrate a new year of freedoms and liberties. And it's like, really? I don't know, man. Your whole area is trying to go socialist right now. I mean, look at my area. I don't vote for this stuff. The lefties do. Mackey was sentenced to 7 months behind bars in 2023, but the sentence was delayed by an appeals court. On Wednesday, a 3-judge panel on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit reversed Mackey's conviction and directed a lower court to enter a judgment of acquittal. Jeez Louise, man. Look, here's one of the posts. I'm with her. Go Hillary. Avoid the line, vote from home, text Hillary. Jesus, look at that. African Americans for Hillary. It kind of looks like a black version of Hillary Clinton. Pretty lady, though, this one. Pretty lady. Speaking to the Daily Wire on Thursday, Mackey said he plans to file a civil lawsuit against the Department of Justice for political weaponization and misconduct, and suggested he's seeking damages totaling at least $1 million. There you go. I give it to the guy. I don't care. Give it to him. You want to screw around? Give the guy the money. I understand it's out of our pockets, but that's bullcrap for posting. That's freedom of speech, man. But that's what they do. They go after us all the time. Doesn't matter what we do or say. That's why I started the show. I always tell you guys this. It's like when I saw them go after Gina Carano for just posting something that wasn't even anything, it's like I might as well just do what I'm going to do. They're going to hate me anyways. It doesn't matter who I am. They're gonna come at you for just. They'll sniff it out on you. You know, my hat, I'm telling you what, have you guys noticed that? I always talk about this. For those that are on audio, I wear a hat. Not just because I'm bald. It keeps me warm, but also it's part of the image. It's part of the look. You look at me, and it plays into what I'm talking about. You just know this guy's conservative. Whenever I start talking about Democrats and I have to explain things to them, you guys ever notice my hat starts turning this way? Ever so slightly. If I did an hour show, my hat would be like, start drooling a little bit. It's the weirdest thing, dude. It's so weird. That's it. You thought I was going to add more there, but I had you. Alrighty, more into the news. I don't know if we want to, do we want trauma? Do we want to bring back old feels for ourselves? Because yesterday was kind of a big day. And not just a big day for the president, but it was a big day for us because we're the ones that witnessed it live. And I want to point out again, we were one of the few people actually streaming it when it happened. You have here the July 13th. Yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of Donald Trump's assassination attempt. And I was debating, do I talk about this or not? Because, dude, I still get messed up when he's doing rallies, man. I'm like on heightened alert after that. So on Sunday, the White House shared a video marking the 1-year anniversary of the failed assassination attempt on President Donald Trump. Do we have the video? We do. Here we go. Let's watch it. We were here.
It was the young conqueror.
We were streaming it. Let's do it.
Donald was the young man who was going to conquer Manhattan.
He takes chances that would make a less daring man shudder.
To think about the arc of where he's been in, it's like some sort of mythical story or something.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me.
Donald Trump seems to always get stronger when challenged.
My God, that guy's got resilience.
Those who deal with you underestimate you and live to regret it.
It's always good to be underestimated. It is not about politics. It's about our love for this great country, America, and we're not going to let it fail. I will fight like no one has ever fought before.
Trump is the bodyguard of Western civilization.
You want to talk about a fighter, a walk through fire? He's an absolute savage.
He knows that this is much bigger than him. This is about the American people. They have no idea what they have unleashed he was ready to go face the cameras and come out swinging.
What will future Americans say we did in our brief time here on Earth? It will be defined by your vision, your perseverance, and your grit. Nothing will sway us, nothing will slow us, and no one will ever stop us. We are Americans. Ambition is our heritage. Greatness is our birthright. And the future belongs to us.
Well, that's the video they posted. 1 year ago today, an assassin opened fire on President Donald J. Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. We still have no information on it. I know more about Oswald and Ruby, the guy that went after Ronald Reagan. Like, I know about all these other guys. I don't know. I'll be honest. I couldn't even tell you the guy's name that went after Donald Trump. Could, just off the top of your head, could any of you, I mean, I'm sure there's a handful of you that really could, because you guys are on top of it. I can't personally. I really don't even know the kid's name. And yeah, he was just a kid. But there was crazy video that I saw yesterday. I think it kind of went off into the wind, the Trump assassination, but I don't think many people realize that there's more video of that kid that came out. He was like walking around I know that he was walking around the grounds, but he was like walking amongst like you know how they have like a row where it has like all the vendors and people have their tables and flags out. Crazy. I want to see if I could find my video of the original Trump assassination clip that we had here, where we were streaming live. And I don't know why. I swear, dude, we're freaking being shadow banned. It's insane that I can't find my video when you type in BaldBrad. Maybe I need to do this. How can I not find my own stuff? Yeah. How can I just show you guys something really quick? How is it I type in BaldBrad Trump shot, my video's not even appearing? How is that possible? These aren't BaldBrad. This is insane. How is it not even popping up? It's under my name. This is crazy, dude. Hold on. No, I'm gonna flush this out live. You're damn right. Like, Brad, it's cool. Like, we could move on. No, I have the hearing here. Other than that, dude, where's my live? Hello? Look at these old videos. Jesus. Weird. All right, well, I guess we're not going to show you the live. Same with us, Brad. Yeah. You're being throttled on the algorithm. Hard, dude. Hard. We can't even get past like 300 views. And it's funny you bring that up, because I was having another. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. Dude, I use, I don't know if I've ever shared this. I use like a program called vidIQ. I used to use TubeBuddy. And I use everything correctly. I do everything correctly. And I'll tell you what, we go viral. We get thousands of views on TikTok. For some reason, man, on YouTube, we can't even get past 200. I have over 100,000 subscribers. I can't even get past 200, 300. Go to the U page. I did. It's not that big of a deal. We might move on. I don't want to spend too much time looking for my own video. It's crazy. I can't even find it. So what you guys don't see from my end is I can actually search through my own videos here. And it won't even pop up. Let me see. I'm thinking maybe this one. Let me see if I can find it. But this is from October. This isn't even it. Oh, well. Is what it is. It's probably not there. It's probably not going to show up. Here we go. I found it. Good on him, man. Give him the fist pump. Hell yeah, Trump. Hell yeah. The ear's bloody. What we saw, again, if you're just tuning in, we're not going to stay away from this. I'll keep showing it over and over again. The president seems to be shot in the ear, grazed him. But yeah, we counted about 8+ shots, about 30 seconds in. It seems like they were able to get rid of the shooter relatively quickly. We'll go back to it. You're going to see him grab his right ear.
Want to really see something that said,
basically, I think after the first shot.
Take a look at what happened.
Right there. I think the first shot got him. See that? I think the first shot got him. He grabs his ear. And then the second shot, I don't know. That's the thing. The second and third shot we get, everything else after that, I don't think hit. I think there was bodies on top of him. See that? I don't like that. He tucks his... For those that are curious, I am live. I'm streaming this. It just happened. We watched him get shot together. And so what I'm doing is I'm breaking down. I don't know if we don't even know if he's bleeding out. We don't know anything at this point. They just chauffeured him off the stage. And so we're trying to break down where he got shot. And I'm trying to explain, I don't like how he leaned in because I thought he got shot in the ribs. And a lot of people thought that he got shot in the side. So we don't know if the president's bleeding out in the motorcade right now on the way to the hospital. We don't know anything because this was live. And we had thousands of people watching the stream after that because everybody's pouring in going, oh, the Trump was shot. I mean, we got it live. And so now we're breaking it down, trying to figure out how many shots there were. It's crazy. Arm in, which makes me think that he might have got shot in the body.
I really see something.
Watch his elbow tuck in.
Take a look at what happened.
Grabs ear, tucks. Boom. I think he did get shot in the body. I could be, obviously, I hope. But I'll tell you what, we got a lot of things right that day. Majority of what we said regarding him getting hit, we did get right regarding all of that. So shout out to us for counting the shots, knowing exactly what was going on. So here's the other one, the reaction of Donald Trump actually getting hit that day. And I like showing it, not because I like the president getting shot, because one, I made a bonehead mistake. And I don't know if I edited this to show just my reaction, but what happened was, because I'm not expecting the president to get shot while me streaming, we streamed every rally. And so I already know what Trump is going to say and do. And as somebody that live stream, I need to supply what Trump is talking about. And so if you're familiar with the rallies, they only show Trump sometimes. They don't actually show what's on the screens at the rally. So I'm like, okay, like I'm going to show the audience what he's referring to because I already know the graph. And so right here on the screen, I'll talk while I leave my image up there. I am on my other monitor right now, pulling up the article, or I should say article, the image of the graph that he's referring to. And that's why I might have edited this in the sense of showing what happened, because I actually blocked him out. I didn't know he was being shot. I was like, my headphones are on my lap. So right here, my headphones are on my lap. You guys can't see. See, I need new headphones. Look at that. Jesus, look at that. And so I could hear the audio very faintly from whatever we listened to. And I'm like, that sounds like gunshots. And I couldn't see them. I'm like, that sounds like gunshots. I'm like, what? And you see me put my headphones up. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Because it sounds like I'm like, why would there be gunshots? What's happening? Here we go.
President in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country.
So I'm pulling up the article.
Probably 20 million people.
Right now.
And you know that.
Oh, so this is it.
This is the chart he's referring to.
What just happened? What the fuck? Holy shit. Shots fired.
Hold, when you're ready, on you. Ready, move.
Holy shit. What the fuck?
Ready?
Holy shit.
Good. Shooters down.
Holy shit. Holy fuck. shots fired at the rally. Is he okay?
I got you, sir. I got you.
Is he okay? Holy Is he okay?
Watch out.
Oh my God, dude. I can't believe that just happened. I cannot believe that just happened. Well, I could slightly believe it because I thought it would happen with the way people are talking, but my voice sounds different. Yeah, it's the mic. It's the mic. I still sound like a pussy, but it's the mic. So that was that day, man. And now, like, we were all streaming the most recent rally for Dark MAGA, and that was restricted. But there was pops going off, and we were all like, what? And Trump's like, don't worry, it's just fireworks. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm traumatized. So that's what happened. We don't know anything still. Why are there female Secret Service agents? Let's be for real. Well, yeah, if you get some girthy ones out there, you get some really wide women, you could block a lot of stuff. Being a smartass, that's messed up. I'm sorry. So let's see what else we have here in the news. Oh, this happened over the weekend. In my area, by the way, well, not my area, but really close to where I am, is it takes a while to load. I hate that I have great internet and still sucks. So Gavin Newsome took jabs at JD Vance because JD Vance was at Disneyland this weekend. JD Vance was right next to my house. Hey, JD, I love you. And took jabs over immigration after VP's California vacation. Hope you enjoy your family time. Okay. So he took his kid to Disneyland, his kids. God forbid, dude. I guess you can't take your kids to Disneyland anymore. It would be different if, like, Donald Trump and JD Vance weren't getting things done. I would have a problem with it. Be like, all right, you guys need to get your, ish. You don't need to be going to Disneyland. Well, Gavin Newsome and Vice President JD Vance traded barbs this weekend over the Trump administration's mass deportation policies after the vice president's vacation to Disneyland in the Golden State. I don't know what illegal immigration has anything to do with Disneyland. I really don't, but I guess we'll find out in this article. Vance was spending time at California amusement park with his wife, Usha, and their 2 children before Newsome, a Democrat, posted on social media that some migrant families cannot spend the same quality time together because of the administration's efforts to detain and remove migrants in the United States. What? Crazy. Hope you enjoy your family time, JD Vance. The families you're tearing apart certainly won't. My question is that why is the onus on JD Vance? We share this all the time. This is nothing new for us patriots. Do you notice that the blame from Democrats always gets put on somebody else, but not the actual people that are committing the crime itself? Y'all notice that? Like, wouldn't that be the problem with the person that came here illegally? Wouldn't the onus be on them to know that you are screwing everything up for you and your family because you decided to come here illegally, and because you came here illegally, there's always going to be a chance that you'd be deported because you're here illegally, and because you're deported because you're here illegally, that would separate you from your family because you chose to have that consequence in the first place, knowing that it was a probability of actually occurring, but you're going to blame the guy that's removing you from this country because for some ungodly reason you can't point towards the person that actually committed the crime in the first place. It's a lot easier to blame somebody else for your problems because now your problems are affecting other people's problems. Isn't that amazing logic? It's so easy. It's so easy. So here we go. The vice president responded by thanking Newsome for his well wishes without addressing the governor's comments about families being separated. I love this. Had a great time. Thanks. Oh, I love JD's a smart ass, man. And so am I. And I eat it up. JD's like a man's man. You know what I mean? The best, I think, podcast that I've seen JD on, where you just get to know who he is, when he's on, oh God, what's that comedian's name? Theo Vaughn. When he's on Theo Vaughn's podcast, where he's just sitting on the couch like this and they're just shooting the shit with each other and just cussing. I love it because it just shows you he's the type of guy that you can get a beer with. He's a no bullshit kind of guy, and so's Trump. Demonstrators gathered in Anaheim to protest Vance and the administration's immigration agenda. And I got a little bit of footage of that for you. You see these nut jobs out there in front of Disneyland trying to ruin everybody else's time. You know, a lot of these kids would never know that the vice president was there unless their parents told them. Like, they would know that something was going on because the amount of like there was a lot of employees chauffeuring him around, and I'll show you in a moment. But here's JD at Disneyland. I don't know why people had music in there. So you got Usha, JD. It looks like Usha's mom probably. You know, they got the family there, which is great. But you see the amount of just, this isn't even everybody. They had so many people around them. So there's Matterhorn. I think this is Autopia right here. Yeah, Autopia. So this is in Tomorrowland. I used to be season pass holder and I lived here my entire life. But you could, I mean, the security and the amount of people they had with them was nuts. So what I'm saying is, and I want to see if we get to the protest outside at all. Oh, damn. They got like exclusive access to places there. That's dope. And they're ripping the way that he was running. Let me see if I can get the footage for you guys. Disneyland protest. Let me see. But people are outside the park protesting. Here you go. And it's like, you know, these kids would never know that anything was going on, but here they are. So this is Catella Street, by the way. The reason why they're on Catella and doing this corner here is because if you look as you're going past, that's the Disney Hotel. And Catella is a big artery in Southern California here. It's a very big street. And so this is where they get most of their publicity. They could really go out there and protest. And then the parking lot's right here. So this would actually lead you, I believe, to downtown Disney where you park right here. Not that that means anything to you guys, but here's another. Still out there, the Mexican flag. I was in a debate yesterday and we were talking about this, not this specific incident, but the immigration. And I was telling them, you know, one thing that people are leaving out in the immigration argument is that it doesn't matter if it's illegal or legal in the context of what I'm about to talk about. A lot of people that are coming into this country legally and illegally are not here, you guys, to assimilate into our country. They're not here to live the American dream of what it used to be. Their American dream is just making more money and sending it back to their family. That's the American dream for them. It's not, oh, I buy into that free speech or Second Amendment, the Bill of Rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They don't believe in any of that. They're here specifically for our economy and not to assimilate. And that's the problem. And that's what we're seeing in Europe right now. That is why you're seeing the downfall of Europe. And we wrote an entire blog on it. And if you didn't know, my website has blogs. I do write these. And there's an article here that I wrote. And, you know, let's actually break this down. Why not? If we have time, let's see. We got plenty of time. So if you look at this, this is wild. I think this is going to blow your guys' minds. American exceptionalism is predicted on certain foundational principles: individual responsibility, which we talk a lot here about on the show, rule of law, and cultural unity, all of which, again, we cover here on the show. But unchecked immigration, both legal and illegal, threatens to erode these principles. Europe's experience provides clear evidence of this risk, but the United States need not follow Europe's troubling path. And so what I did was I said, okay, well, let's look at some moment in time, meaning right now, and compare it and see what's going to possibly happen to the United States. And what is? Countries like Germany and Sweden offer cautionary examples largely overlooked in mainstream discussions. Like I mentioned in debates or whatever, even a lot of conservatives and Republicans miss this. According to Germany's Federal Criminal Police Office, and I cite the years and I give you guys the resources so you go look it up yourself, foreign nationals were disproportionately involved in crimes, with migrants constituting over 35% of murder suspects, despite being less than 15% of the population. So 14% of the population commits 35% of just the murders. That's wild. Similarly, A 2023 report from Sweden's National Council for Crime Prevention highlighted that migrants, particularly from North Africa and the Middle East, accounted for 58% of violent crime in urban centers. Almost 60% of the crime is coming from people from North Africa and the Middle East. Do you think there's a little bit of a cultural problem here? Almost 60% is head spinning. France faces a similar crisis. Official data from the INSEE reveals nearly 45% of, Parisians under age 20 had at least one immigrant parent, correlating with rising crime and social instability. There's Le Figaro notes the migrants are disproportionately responsible for approximately 70% of violent robberies and nearly 80% of rape cases, solved rape cases, mind you, meaning the number is higher. Do you think this is a little bit of a problem? United Kingdom, their white population went from 97% in the 1960s to 40% today. That shift has ushered a political and cultural change, including the election of mayors sympathetic to radical ideologies that stand contrary to Britain's historical values. That's what's happening here. Case in point, New York City. Case in point, when you start immigrating on mass scales, mass numbers, what you find is that they change your culture. And politics is downstream of culture. And that's why you're seeing the political landscape change. That's why you see these people out here with the Mexican flag. That's why you see people go, well, I'm Mexican American. I'm African American. I'm Italian American. No, you're American. You're not any one of those things because it's kind of like that old cliche in hockey. We say you don't represent the name on the back of your jersey. You represent the name on the front. And the same way here is you don't represent Mexico. You don't represent Haiti. You don't represent whatever country you're coming from. You represent America. My dad immigrated over here. He never, in my entire life, as far as I can remember, never acknowledged the country that he was coming from. I didn't even know for a lot of my life that he actually was an immigrant, put it that way. I found out like in my teen years or something that he immigrated over here. Never knew because he classified himself as American. He was an American guy. He's here living the American dream, an immigrant legally. And by the way, didn't buy into the economy. He bought into the culture. Now, a lot of you are like, oh, well, he raised a guy that was Republican. Actually, he didn't. I used to push back on my dad a lot regarding politics. I would probably growing up be more of a Democrat. I never voted Democrat, but probably if you listen to my thinking, I came across as more of a Democrat, like, well, what's the big deal that we're paying higher in taxes? I just didn't understand. And that's why a lot of people end up going from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party because of that very thing. That's why a lot of Republicans and conservatives understand Democrats because we used to be one. But Democrats didn't used to be Republican. Now, I know a guy, my neighbor was a Republican, now he's a Democrat. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Okay, I'm talking in generalities, holistic view, big, broad terms, because that's how we start a conversation and then we move in. Like, none of this is difficult, right? None of this seems too difficult. Let's see if there's any breaking news here. I really wanted to get to a few things, and hopefully you guys can indulge me a little bit here. But did you all see this? And I'll show you. I reposted it. If you're not following me on X here, you got to, because I post these articles and sometimes we don't talk about them on the show, but they're good stuff for you. So if you can get like good things throughout the day by follow me over at Twitter or X, BaldBrad1776 is my user handle. So breaking, check this out, you guys. I'm out of coffee, damn it. Okay, Chicago Public Schools is now bankrupt as the city faces a 700. Dude, this is so much money. Hold on, let me take a moment here. I lose my breath when I say some of these. It's just so much. I can't believe that this even is a thing. Chicago Public Schools is now facing bankruptcy as the city faces $730 million deficit after paying for illegals and must now lay off almost 1,500 employees, including over 430 teachers and 677 special education classroom assistants. Wow. But I guarantee you they're going to have bilingual teacher aides in there to service all these illegals. Oh, I guarantee you. And you know what? Guess what? Chicago public schools, almost all of these teachers that are let go are either new teachers, but also Democrats.
Chicago Public Schools just announced it's laying off more than 1,400 school-based employees. This includes 432 teachers and 677 special ed classroom assistants. CPS says this is part of its annual workforce planning and budgeting process. Historically, the district says more than 80% of impacted employees have secured new positions within CPS prior to the start of the school year. It's not known if the current $734 million budget deficit will impact that rehiring process. Chicago Public Schools.
Dude, that's so crazy. It doesn't surprise me in the slightest, but it's still crazy nonetheless. That's Democrat ran. I was when I went on my my run/walk last week, I was listening to Patrick Bet-David podcast, and they were going over all these major areas like Chicago and God, what was another one? I think it was like Philadelphia or something like that. A lot of these places haven't had a Republican ran government in like 50, 60, 70, 80. Some of them were like 90 years. I don't even know when the last time Chicago was ran by. Let's actually look that up really quick. When was the last time Chicago? When was the last time Chicago was ran by a Republican? I want to say it was like 60, 70 years ago or something like that. I mean, people's life. There's people that last time Chicago was ran by a Republican mayor was 1927. Almost 100 years. Chicago's been ran by Democrats for 100 years. And they will still vote Democrat. They won't even take a gamble. When somebody doesn't understand that just by the sheer probability, why don't you just take a chance at you? Like Trump said, you have nothing to lose. You've already lost. Your face is in the mud. For 4 years, just throw a stone really quick. Like, hey, let's just see what happens. Let's roll the dice. Let's see what happens. We've been rolling the dice for 100 years and been losing. And they can't even think about going, well, let's see here. 100 years, there might be a probability that if I vote Republican, that maybe something might change. Isn't that crazy? And they all blame Trump. Yes, they all blame Trump. 100 years, and they all blame Trump. It is nuts. Joanne says, I live an hour away in Wisconsin. I won't visit that Chicago bleep hole. I'm like that with LA. I'll only visit if I have to. Brad, when I was working for a cybersecurity company as a threat response analysis, I bleep you not, dude. Clients of the company would require us to send them local Chicago violence incident reports. Crazy, dude. That is freaking nuts. It really is. It's head spinning. So Chicago was 1927. So here's the cities with long periods without Republican mayors. Y'all ready for this? Atlanta, Georgia. The last time it had a Republican mayor. Atlanta, Georgia. 1879, 150 years ago. Baltimore, Maryland, 1967 was the last time it allegedly had a Republican mayor. Detroit, Michigan, 1962 was the last time. New Orleans, 1872. Pittsburgh, 1934. Philadelphia, 1952. Seattle, Washington, 1946. Boston, 1930. There's almost another 100 years. San Francisco, 1964. Los Angeles, 2001. And these people just blame Republicans for everything. What a bunch of idiots. What a bunch of idiots. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're an idiotic. You're an idiotic person in that regard. Absolutely. You won't even take a gamble. Now, to be fair, is just because you get a Republican mayor in there doesn't really going to change all that much if the legislature is also Democrat. That's the issue. I was actually having a conversation. I took my mom out to breakfast this weekend, and she said, do you think California is going to change? She watches the show, by the way. And I said, no, I don't think it's ever going to change, because even if you got a Republican in there as governor or hell mayor of some city, it doesn't matter, is because you're still dealing with all the Democrats that are running the show in the legislature and everywhere else. So even if you got a guy in there, he's gridlocked. He can't do anything, but he'll be the one to get the blame because he can't do anything. Gavin Newsome has a bunch of Democrats running around. He can do whatever he wants. They ain't doing nothing. They're still not doing anything. So allegedly, is this true? Is this breaking news? Ghislaine Maxwell breaks silence, is ready to testify? No. Let me see if this is if this is real. Let me confirm this, folks, before this is we're gonna talk about this. Let me confirm really quick here. Give me a second. I don't know if that's real, because I don't see that anywhere else. It could just be clickbait. Either this has to be really breaking news. Let's see here.
The clemency decisions himself, but says that the auto pen was used to sign the warrants since there were a lot of them. Decision on out, but
with
today's Monday. Feel everything. Hear me out. You're going to ask the questions. We will have a system where we will be checking the chat. Let's say that you want to hide information. Okay? Not saying that you have anything to hide, right? But nobody wants the deep state to have access to all their files. Nobody wants to have criminals have access to all their files, photos, pictures, birth certificates only on your screen 8 here in the state of Florida. Just so happened to have a very interesting conversation with the Attorney General in the state of Florida. There's a lot of motion. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes that are really exciting about this moment. Because of this movement, and because you refuse to pay taxes to child predator cults, we are going to save this nation. It's an amazing thing. And so much happened over the weekend. And I guess I should just start with keeping the main thing, which was this weekend in Tampa, Florida, Student Action Summit, Turning Point USA. There was a series of speeches that just burned the freaking issue to the ground. Some of the biggest names in the entire movement: Steve Bannon, Megyn Kelly, Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson. Humbly, to a much lesser extent, myself. We're all on stage demanding the release of the Epstein client list. And without a doubt, and let me just tell you from first-hand experience, this is the number one motivating issue for the base. You don't have a political movement if you don't have a base. And if that base feels like you're betraying them or not telling them the truth, then they're not going to like that. I love President Trump. I'm not saying turn on Trump or anything like that, okay? This is without question, the MAGA movement is without question the best vessel forward. And I think the MAGA movement could really be a durable 100-year movement. What I'm saying is that there are pressure point issues that have to be resolved here. And what happened this weekend was we were able to demonstrate what the pressure looked like. Here's a couple of good examples here, right? Here's Tucker Carlson. It's probably the speech that went the most viral. Tucker Carlson talking about Jeffrey Epstein at Student Action Summit, ladies and gentlemen, and explaining what the real problem is here. Take it away.
The fact that the U.S. government, the one that I voted for, refused to take my question seriously and instead said, case closed, shut up, conspiracy theorist, was too much for me. And I don't think the rest of us should be satisfied with that. And by the way, let me just say really quickly, because I was so mad about it that I think I found out part of what's going on. I think we are going to find out more. And I think the truth, for whatever it's worth, in case you're interested, is that the DOJ didn't release lots of incriminating sex videos with Epstein and his billionaire pals because they don't have them. They don't have them because when the original search warrant was served 2007, I think, possibly 2006, I think 7, it was basically designed to protect Epstein. The search warrant was written in such a way to make sure that the feds never got their hands on the actually incriminating evidence. It's another way of saying the cover-up has been going on since 2007, almost 20 years. And so the real question is not, was Jeffrey Epstein a weirdo who was abusing girls? Yes, we can answer that. The real question is, why was he doing this, on whose behalf, and where did the money come from? And those are the questions that need to be answered. And I think it's entirely fair to ask them. And it's not adequate to say anyone who asked them is somehow desecrating the memory of little girls who died in Texas. I'm not going to put up with that answer. I don't care who gives that answer. That is not acceptable. And I think the real answer is Jeffrey Epstein was working on behalf of intel services, probably not American. And we have every right to ask, on whose behalf was he working? How does a guy go from being a math teacher at the Dalton School in the late 70s with no college degree to having multiple airplanes, a private island, and the largest residential house in Manhattan? Where did all the money come from? And no one has ever gotten to the bottom of that because no one has ever tried.
Tucker Carlson getting at the very root and heart of the issue here.
All right. Well, I don't want to take Benny's cast. So what I'm going to do, if you want to head over to Rumble, I'm going to send you all over to Benny Johnson's show, and we will rate it. Again, I don't want to take his content. He's doing great work, and I don't want to, step on anybody's toes. So I'm going to raid you guys over. So what's going to happen is if you're over at Rumble, it's going to drop you directly into Benny Johnson's podcast, and you can get the skinny on this. I appreciate all you guys supporting the show. Become a member, please. Follow me on all social media. Everything you need is in the description. We have a Discord going. We have it built. We just got to fine tune it, and then we'll put that Discord link in the description the moment it goes live. So again, we are building it out. It is a thing, so it's already been built. I have the shell and everything. We're just kind of building it. So that's kind of some updates. So I'll send you over to Benny. Show you guys. Appreciate you. God bless you, and enjoy Benny Johnson. He's one of the greats. Take care, Patriots.